stop seeking bliss and instead let us explore the true purpose of meditation. An individual on Reddit proudly proclaimed, "I can mentally flip a metaphoric switch and instantly feel bliss, therefore I don't need to meditate." But is the contrivance of bliss the only purpose of meditation? Due to a quirk in evolution, not only do we have the front part of our brain that is capable of concentration and contemplation, that is capable of focus and analysis, but we have evolved the tendency to over rely upon it. The more we do that, the more we fatigue the front part of our brain. And the more that happens, the more we trigger our amygdala, which functions as the primal seat of anxiety and aggression. Most of us don't want to be anxious and aggressive. And just throwing bliss at anxiety and aggression is not going to make them go away. It might even twist them. What then is nature's solution to this? The solution is the autonomic nervous system, and I'd like to show you how that works right now. Every time we inhale, we are wired to automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which is ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. To help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which, as you can see, is the opposite of the rigidity and controlling tendencies that support and drive concentration. Completely different. We have evolved to notice all manner of things, including mind's antic self-perceptions, our ability to see and hear and feel and taste and smell and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. But that's not all. Every time we exhale, evolution has wired us to automatically access the parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system is wired to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Doing so takes the edge, calms our amygdala, calms its anxiety, calms its aggression, but even more importantly, it stimulates our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as if it was the hub of our mirror neurons and functions as the seat of empathy, which in turn is the root of both compassion and love. The late Tulku Thondup insisted that the highest love is not the contrivance, it's not the contemplation or concentration upon uh, compassion and love. In fact, trying to do so just further exacerbates, uh, just further triggers our amygdala, which exacerbates our anxiety and aggression. Sadly enough. Au contraire. No, what Tukul Tundap insisted is that the highest love is the love that is spontaneous and uncontrived and is a fringe benefit, a byproduct of our simple practice of noticing in harmony with our inhalation and releasing in harmony with our exhalation. The greatest love comes from awareness and release, from mindfulness and meditation. Can this process be blissful? Yes. Is the purpose of this process to generate bliss? No. I mean, if you did a cocaine, that would generate bliss. If you did heroin, that would generate bliss. I don't think either of those things are remotely sustainable. Bliss is just a fringe benefit. It's not the purpose. You know, ask any teenager who has survived puberty, and they will tell you that you can only masturbate so much before you just chafe yourself. But once once primates discover their ability to generate bliss from the self-manipulation of one's genitals, they become little sexual obsessed Caligulas. That's one of the reasons junior high is just so scary. People are just out of control. If that was the case, if all that we needed was pleasure, then why, I tell you, junior high would be a nirvana. It would be a Shangri-La. But it's not. or, or how about prison, where there is a high degree of sexual activity, sometimes even with consent. Um, if that was the case, it would be a mecca of fully realized peaceful people, but it is not. Bliss is a fun byproduct, but if it is our main goal, it's not going to give us the mental health we need. It's not going to help us to deal with the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune, the slings and arrows that trigger our primal drives to reproduce and eat and fight and flee and faint and fawn and the like. These things might be useful in the short term to keep us alive, but if they become, or when they become, our default mechanism, life becomes deeply unfulfilling and unsustainable. We are wired to find fulfillment in cooperation. And that only comes when we have freed ourselves through mindfulness, meditation, that help us to be the empathetic people that our dogs already think we are. This is why we meditate, so that we can cooperate with the self-healing mechanisms of our autonomic nervous system. Having completed our opening lesson, let us shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Renegade Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers, just like you. Let us shift our attention now to the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. Together, let us relaxingly recite. Whatever comes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever stays, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever goes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Welcome to the first quarter of this morning's group meditation. Upon the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could invite or real or imagine subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Let's review mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, we are wired to notice in a very special way. We are wired to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you can see is the opposite of the rigidity and controlling nature of concentration. What then are we to do with that which we notice? Why, we meditate, of course. You see, every time we exhale, thanks to the parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, we are wired to both physically relax as well as mentally release. Bearing this in mind, what is the most efficient way, what is the easiest way, what is the most effective way that we can cooperate with this neurological process? Simple. During each inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And during each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease. Together, let us practice right now, and remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Just bear in mind, I'll only check for questions about once every 8 minutes or so. Excuse me. Welcome to the second quarter of this morning's group meditation. I'll be right back. Upon the tip of our left index finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. Let us review mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. What are we to do with all that which we notice? We meditate. For during each exhalation, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are wired to practice both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Excuse me. How then can we best cooperate with these neurological structures? It's simple. During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb is. Together, let us practice right now. Good morning and welcome to the third quarter of this morning's group meditation. I used the word morning twice in one sentence. I must be sent to redundancy jail. Upon the tip of our left middle finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Let us review the mechanism of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of phenomena. From the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. What then are we to do with all that which we have noticed during our inhalation? We are to meditate, of course. For every time we exhale, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are wired to practice both physically relax as well as mentally release. What is the most efficient way that we can cooperate with these neurological mechanisms? Easy. During our inhalation, all we got to do is silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And during each exhalation, all we got to do is silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb is. Now, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Karma Chakme Rinpoche taught that the essence of morality was nonviolence. 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. Functional magnetic resonance imaging studies have demonstrated that the more we authentically practice mindfulness and meditation, the more effortlessly our anterior cingulate gyrus, the seat of empathy, lights up, metaphorically speaking. The highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived, and the combination that unlocks its vault is none other than mindfulness and meditation. The more we authentically practice mindfulness and meditation, the more our choices and utterances and deeds cannot help but be kind. Welcome to the final quarter of this morning's group meditation. Upon the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Let us review the mechanism of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice dualities, such as lack and boon, pain and bliss, scorn and praise, shame and fame. What are we to do with such observations? We meditate, of course. For during each exhalation, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are already wired to physically relax as well as mentally release. What is the most efficient way that we can cooperate with these neurological structures? Simple. During each inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And during each exhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb is. Like that wonderful refrain from the Broadway show, The Wiz, we can ease on down the road. When we feel aversion to anything, even meditation itself, during our inhalation, we can label it with the word this. And as we exhale, we can relax, and even that momentary disdain could feel less tantalizing, less permanent, less defining, and even less solid. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.